Hi friends, today we are going to discuss this migrations of the Oracle database on running on EC2 to Oracle database running on RDS using this AWS DMS service. So uh, it will be online migrations with no downtime. So let's discuss the high level steps. The high level steps of I already have a Oracle database instance running on the EC2. So I'll be preparing the source database like I'll be checking the objects and the schemas we're going to replicate. Then I'll be providing some kind of privileges, putting the archive logs, and then also the use this log miner for the replicate the ongoing changes. Then we are going to install the Oracle database on RDS, and also we'll prepare the RDS database like create the user, schema user, and provide this necessary privileges to the user. Then we'll create this replication instance at DMS. It will be required for doing the replication. Then we'll be creating this source and destination endpoints at DMS. So source endpoints will be the Oracle database running on EC2, and the destination endpoint will be Oracle database running on RDS. Then we'll be doing some kind of validations like connection validations from that replication instance. Then we'll be doing this database migration tasks with validations. The target database will cut over and clean up wherever necessary. So friends, let's start. Okay, this is the preparation phase of the EC2. Let me log into my Oracle database on running on the EC2. This is my host instance, and there is a database already running. You can see that this database name is WordCL. Okay. Okay, and just for the sake of this migrations, I already created, I already taken some kind of samples schemas for GitHub. There is a lot of if you can Google it, you can get it a lot of sample schemas from the GitHub. So I use git clone to get the sample schemas there. So I already putting create a user called HR and import it, create some tables and import some data. So if I'll show you, this is something, and also I'm using the SQL client called JackDB. This is total online, so you don't require to do anything on that. So I have already connected the to my source instance. You can see that these are the tables. So I am having some tables called countries, department, jobs, etc., etc., and this will be the objects is available. So I have some table, index, view, trigger, procedure, and sequence. So we'll match these objects once our migration is completed from EC2 to RDS. So let's begin. The first step, I already have a username called HR. Yeah. Okay. And I need to provide some privileges to this user. I already having a list of privileges needed. Okay, I got the long list of privileges mostly from this URL. This URL is very handy because what happen, you'll get some if you don't give this privileges, you might face the issues during replications, migrate existing data, and mostly during this migrating existing data and replicate ongoing changes. So these privileges would be required. I'm just copying one by one and a bunch and then doing these things. Okay, done. Next steps, I need some more privileges for when I'll be using the Oracle log miner to access the data logs. I am using the Oracle log miner to replicate the ongoing changes. So let me copy them as well. Done. Okay. For next steps, I'll be requiring, because since I'll be replicating the ongoing changes, it is apparent the database should be in the archive block mode. Uh, Let me check the archive block status. So we need to enable the archive block status, archive block mode, the database. Okay, our database is not in archive block mode, so we have to enable it. To enable, I'm just shutting down the database right now. I need to mount it first. Then okay. Yep. Now I am opening my database. Okay. Let's check this. Okay. Good. So our database is currently now running in the archive mode. Now I have to verify few settings required for the supplementary logging. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's not been copied properly. Okay. So it's compatible. Let me see this. Okay, supplementary logging is enabled. Maybe I enabled it before, but this is the command to enable it. To check these things. Now, okay, that is a two things. It's very important point is that you might have seen some of the documents that there is a two method to enable the supplementary logging. One way you can directly enable it in the database levels, and another way people said in the schema levels. Even I have faced this before, that even enabling the supplementary logging in the database levels, if you want to replicate some data from particular tables, it's failed. It sometimes providing problems. So I'll always prefer, if you don't have any problem, to enable it um, database as well as schema as well as table level. So in these examples, I'll be enabling more in the database level as well as in the schema level. Okay. Well, to enable log supplementary log data, I'll be using a small script to get the query for my HS schema. Okay. Sorry, this is not the script. Okay, I got 7 tables here. Okay, tables got altered, so supplementary logging is enabled for all these 7 tables. Now, for the preparation of source database steps is now completed. Let's move to the next step. The next steps, we are going to install a RDS Oracle instance. For that, I am going again to my EC2 console. For my AWS console, going to RDS. Okay, I'll be creating a database. I'll be creating a this standard create. Then choose Oracle. It will be a enterprise edition. My source database is 12.1, so I'll be using a 12.1 only. Let's do that 12.10 to v19. I'll be using a free tier. Let's put the database names identifier as okay default. In the password I'll use STBA. Okay. DB instance size I'll be using a T2 3 micro. This is the only option is showing. General purpose SSD 20 GB should be fine. I don't need for auto scaling. For connectivity, I'll be choosing a particular VPC which is I created. It's having a two subnets, two internet facing subnets. So I'll choose the additional connectivity options. Publicly accessible, yes, because I'm going to use it using my tool from my local desktop, so it needs to be publicly accessible. Okay. I'll choose a VPC groups. I already having a VPC group with me, DBSG, so that this I'm choosing this security group because I'm gonna show you this is because it's already having one DBSG. Okay, database port is default 1521. Let's see that. Okay, let me see this. I'll put this database as a Oracle ORCL. Parameter group default. I'm not going to change anything. I am not going to enable automatic backups. Enable encryption is not needed. Performance insights is not needed. Maintenance window is no preference. So I am creating the database. This will take some time. In the meantime, I'll show you why I choose the particular security groups. Okay. Security groups DBSG. Yeah. If you see the security group, Um, this is, this definitely a bad practice, but just for the sake of this, this particular training, this is my training instance. I have putting all traffic. You can put that TCP only, custom TCP 1521, but I have put the all traffic. Same as outbound is default. Okay, that's why I have chosen this security groups. Okay, I'm pausing this video because creations of the RDS, it will take some time. Once it is done, we'll again come back. Hopefully our database is now completed. Yep, it's available now. So let's try to connect. For to connect this RDS database, we have to connect using this endpoint. So I'm copying the endpoint. I'm going to the CheckDB again. This database, I'm going to name it as a Oracle RDS. It will be read write. So I'll add this thing in the host name. The port is again 1521. Database name is ORCL. Username should be testdba, and the password I'm just entering. Okay, I'll just update and I'll try to connect. Okay, we can connect the database. Let's check the database name. Okay, so our database test, our target database in Oracle on Oracle RDS is up and running. So on the next steps, we already created the database ORCL. Okay, we have already shown this VPC subnet and security groups, and we have established the connectivity from the Oracle client. So on the next steps, we'll be creating the replication schema users and given the privileges. So I'll go to the RDS section. I'm creating a schema. User. Okay. Okay, I'm creating some quota on user table space. Got it. Okay. Done. So I have to give this number of grant to this HS schema. Okay. Time zone, and it's not working. Let's proceed. We'll check later these things whether they are required or not. I believe this semicolon will be required. I'm not very much sure how to run this script in a all together, so I'm doing one by one. I believe I can do this way. Okay, select them and run. No, there is some limitations of this tool. So I have to run one by one. Okay, finally it's done. Let's move in the next steps. Okay. Um, the next steps, the steps for target database is almost done. So we have created a schema, user schema. From source database, the HR schema will be replicated to the target Oracle database on RDS, and I have given this user privileges. Okay, the next steps would be create replications instance at DMS. So I'll again AWS console. This time I'll choose data migration services. Okay, and here you can start it from here, or you can take it the drop down. I am going to the replication instances. I'm going to create one. Okay, name as a say anything. I'll say replications, my replication, or Oracle replication. Just whatever the descriptions, I'll just cut and paste. Instance class T2 medium is default. I'm using the T2 small because the HS schema is really smaller one. I don't require 50 GIB, maybe 30 would be sufficient. Okay, the one thing is required that the VPC, since we are VPC, I am putting the same VPC where my current RDS is. It will be easier, so I'll be putting the same VPC. Multi AZ is not required. Publicly accessible, yes. And then go to the advanced security. Okay, VPC security group, I'll be using the same VPC security group DBSG. Okay. KMS master key should be default. I'm not using anything. Minor versions automatic update, you can choose whatever it is. So I'm not changing anything. Tags, your choice. I'm not putting anything here. So I'm going to create this one. Okay, it will take some time. In the meantime, I'll proceed with the next step. The next step is create source and destination endpoints. So in the drop down, you can see these endpoints. I'll create the endpoints. I'll create the source endpoint first. This is the source endpoint. This is not a RDS, so I'm unchecking it. Endpoint identifier, I'll say source Oracle. Endpoint engine is a Oracle. Server name, I know the server name. Okay, server name will be, okay, I have to go back to EC2. Server name will be the public DNS. Okay, I'm copying this public DNS. Port is 1521. No, there is no SSL mode. Username, this time I can use the DMS username, the replication schema. So I know the password. Okay, this is the thing. What's here? So since I am not using any extra connection attributes, you can use, there are a lot of things you can do this time. Since this is Oracle to Oracle, I am not using anything right now. Since this replication instance is still ongoing, I'll be doing this test endpoint connection later. So just create this endpoint. Let me check the password again. Okay, password is right. Let me create the endpoint. Okay, uh, let me check the status of the replication instance. Still creating. Okay, let me then proceed with this target endpoint. So I'll press this create endpoint tab again. This time I'll put in the target endpoints, and this is the RDSDB instance. So this time it will be easy. It's already showing. I'm just choosing the database one, everything showing as it is. I'm only changing the schema name, username as HR, and the password. So for destinations, I don't have to manually put everything. It was all these things were showing. I was just putting this endpoint identifier. Similarly, there will be no endpoint specific settings. It's not required for Oracle to Oracle. For test endpoint connections, I am going to do that after this replication instance is created. So create endpoint. Okay. Let me recheck whether what is the status of my replication instance. It's available. Then let me do the check. Let me do the connection check now. So this times I'll choose this, check this box, go to the actions. This is for my RDA. This is for my target test connections. So and run test. It's testing. If it is failed, I have to fix the connections in between RDS and DMS. Hopefully it will be successful because they are in the same subnet, same VPC. I am not anticipating any kind of problem. So mostly the you may face the problems with from your source Oracle because it's in EC2, it's in different VPC to your DMS things. Okay, yeah, it is successful. So I'll go back to the endpoint again. This time I'll choose the source Oracle, action, test connection, run test. It takes about a minute, maybe a less. Okay, good, it's successful. Now the next step is that we are going to create the migration tasks. For the migration tasks, um, there is a tab called conversions and migrations. So I'll in the drop down migration task is there. I'm just going to create a task. Okay, I'll give a task name called uh, DMS EC2 to RDS EC2 to RDS Oracle. Replication instance, drop down, Oracle application, source database, source Oracle, target, everything you can find in the drop down. Okay, here in the migration type, there will be three options: migrating existing data, migrate existing data with replicate ongoing changes, and replicate data changes only. The first steps, this is something, suppose whatever the data is there. And the second steps is migrating existing data with replicate ongoing changes. I'll choose this one, and first I'll be showing you the seven tables and the objects are already replicated, and after that I'll be creating an one more row in the one particular table at the source, and I'll be showing that it's got replicated at the target. Okay, let's choose that. I know that this is Oracle replication is there and Oracle log miner is on, replications, everything is out. Okay, I am here choosing the default. Another thing is that I don't have any log columns, so maybe don't hint with the log columns. Okay, here in the table mapping, you are having two options, guided UI and JSON. So I'll be using the guided UI. This case, you can use a JSON. This is having a lot more flexibility. Okay, I'm adding a selection rules. This will be for my source. Schemas, enter schemas. I know my schema name is HR. Table name, all tables, action included. And for the transformation rules is mostly for my the replication instance, what will be replicated. So I'm adding a new transformation rule. Target will be schema, schema name, say enter schema name should be HR. For schema name, I'll be renaming to the same schema name. You can put anything else or you can choose any other options. For the advanced task settings, I'm not using anything. Everything is default. Okay, I'm not using any tags either. So let's do that. Create task. You can see that it will be fast creating the tasks and then it will be running the tasks. So maybe less than a minute we can see what's happening. In the meantime, I'm connecting as a source because I'll be inserting some rows in the source side. So full load is ongoing. You can see the event. What is the event in showing currently? Replication task has been started. You can see it in the events tab. Go back to the data migration stack. Now you can see that the table statistics, mapping rules, assessment results. So let's go back to there. Still in the starting phase. I'm pausing this video for a minute. Database migration task is now running. You can see that is so maybe it will done in a minute. Stable statistics. Okay, it's already okay. I believe it's done. Yeah, load is completed. So we'll go to see the table statistics. Okay. Um, so rows are already inserted there. So now we're gonna check the next part, the replication, ongoing replications. So I'll be inserting some new rows. Okay, I'll be inserting some new rows there. Maybe I'll put as a for values like, okay, put as a admin, and then it should be senior. Minimum salary is 500 and maximum salary is 5,000. Okay, it is HR dot jobs. Okay, commit. Now we should see that it will be replicated. If I'll go back, see the how many tables has came. Okay, if I'll see the count from jobs table itself, or select start from the jobs table itself, HR jobs, sorry, we might get some the new rows. Okay, let's bring it up. You can see that the new rows, that means senior is came here. Let's try with another one. Let's say as a um, engineer or trainee. Trainee is a temporary. That is minimum salary is 200, maximum salary is 1000. Okay. Let's go back to the database again and execute. We can see it's pretty quick. It's almost immediately is coming to the replicating. So that means that our application is done. So now this part we can discuss about this the part called cutover. Now actually I'm not going to cut over anything. Cutover is more applicable whenever you are having some applications there or connecting to the database, so you want to switch to the from your EC2 Oracle to RDS Oracle. Maybe you can use some kind of you know uh, route 50 route 53 kind of things, or when your all the applications, all the users, all the connections will convert it from source to destination target database, like from EC2, then you can stop the um, instance there at the source. So basically from the DMS side, what you have to do that when you are pretty sure there will be no more archive blocks coming, so you can stop these things. So I'm stopping the replications after the cutover. The next phase is that you have to delete the resources. So deleting the resources is very important because this is quite costly. These replications, endpoint, migration tasks, these are quite costly things. So once it is totally deleted, I'm going to totally stopped. I'm going to delete the resources from the DMS. Okay, it's stopped now. So I'm going to delete. Okay. So I'm going to delete the endpoint as well, not endpoint before the replications, because okay, delete. Once this migration task is totally deleted, I'll safely delete the endpoint as well. Okay, guys, based on your requirement, whether you are going to delete this source database, that is your choice, but I'm not going to do that because I'll be using some my source database for some more migration steps. So hopefully you understand the basic things, how we can replicate the data from source Oracle database in EC2 to destinations Oracle database on RDS. Hopefully the training session is useful. Thank you. Goodbye.